huge problem with this version of capitalism.
Because I go, these are your values.
Yeah.
But if losing money comes into the equation, you will adapt your values. So then they aren't values to me.
Correct.
That's what I always think of. So I go like, can a company actually have values beyond making money?
So you are highlighting the very problem with modern capitalism, right? The capitalism that we have today is not Adam Smith capitalism. That's not the capitalism we have today. We have a bastardized form of capitalism influenced by an economist from the late 70s named Milton Friedman. The Adam Smith version of capitalism was that the baker selfishly wants to make the best bread so that they can sell more bread than all the other bakers. And the butcher selfishly wants to make the best meat so he can sell more than all the other butchers. And the dairy farmer wants to make the best butter so that he can sell more. And what you get is the best sandwich. What we as the customer get is the best sandwich, right? So the selfish behavior of wanting to be better than their others benefits the customer, right? And in the late 1970s, Milton Friedman wrote an op-ed in the New York Times where he basically proposed a new definition of business. He actually called it the responsibility of business. The responsibility of business was to maximize profit within the bounds of the rules. Forget about ethics.
Maximize profits within the bounds of the rules.
Right?
Okay.
Ethics are a higher standard than the rules. And you see it all the time. You know, companies did some horrifically unethical things. You know, a patent to an essential drug.
Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting?
You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
Now I will never be your hater, I'm your biggest fan. I hope it falls into place just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you see the clip. There's a certain naivete or naive belief about capitalism, and even when he talked about Adam Smith capitalism. First thing, Adam Smith wasn't an American. He was Scottish. I don't think he ever lived in America. I know he wrote the book, that people go by, but that is not from an American point of view. You get what I'm saying? So the idea that, we taking on this type of belief, it was always weird. Now, I have a certain spin on this because of my race. And people go, is everything about race? Yes and no. I could take these off. I'm sorry. The thing is, Adam Smith's capitalism was really still when slavery was existing. And that's the thing about America. Capitalism in America is based on, let me either get something for nothing or let somebody do all the heavy lifting and I can take everything and give nothing, right? That's the whole indigenous, quote, stealing the natives' land part, something for nothing. And the slavery thing, building something for nothing and profiting off of other people's labor and giving them nothing. That's the form of capitalism America has. And when I said it's not, the naivete is, I think white America in particular was always cool with that. But from a perspective of a black person, it's that you never thought you would be a victim of your own capitalism, which doesn't make sense because you could say, whites are the majority population, and that was part of, Ellis Island and bringing everybody from Europe to make sure that they were the predominant population in America. And so people grew, from slavery, and even Jim Crow was building wealth off the back of, I can take this other group's wealth because of my race, and we're all good with it. That was actually capitalism. You get what I'm saying? He invented that, but he's black. I'm taking that. Me and my family profit. Hello, capitalism. That was that. Um, I'm stealing this person's property that they already paid for and worked for. That's capitalism. You know what I mean? But the irony of that is you run out of people to screw over. So you're mathematically, if we're the minority population and you screw us out of quote unquote generational wealth, there's only one direction to go, in your own. So now what people are seeing is, you know, America eating its own or its preferred kind because there's nobody really else to take from. Now, there's another aspect of this. There's on the books capitalism and off the books capitalism, which means we don't talk about the underworld, the drug trade, trafficking, all the things that America loves to do. And sometimes you try to wonder why. When you use drugs to fund wars, you use trafficking to, how can I say, dirty and sully up the politicians to have stuff on them so you can use them again, right? Because everybody's doing this, right? That's capitalism. Even diplomatic immunity. You need diplomatic immunity for doing good things, or do you need it for doing bad things? You need it for doing bad things, and those bad things profit you. And even when those bad things are legal, like insider trading, that's capitalism. So this belief that one day, the dollars are flowing my direction, it was always a naive belief to me. But then you see people, well, my family's been poor for this many generations and we all had to work for what we got. And it's like, pump your brakes on that, because you don't say what your family stole. You don't say who your family, the other part of capitalism, when he's talking about the baker, I'm gonna make the best bread. You didn't say when the baker made the best bread and it was $1, but it was $1 for these people, but it was $2.50 for these people. That's capitalism. I remember talking to a guy, I forgot the guy's name. He told me a story about how the postal service started, which was the Pony Express. Was people would pay people to take their mail from one place in America to another, and it was the Pony Express because the people was riding horses and they were afraid of getting killed by Indians, so you had to pay these people. And there was a guy who was very successful at it, and he got so successful at it, he started basically gouging everybody, price gouging, because he was the only one that could do it consistently, successfully. And he said, as he got older, he felt sorry for what he did, because he knew, say he was charging people $1 in the beginning, then he's charging people 10, 15, 20, 30. He's just switching it up depending on, you got money, and then I'm gonna get you. Just your last you got, I gotta get it. And then as he died, he was like, I'm so sorry for what I did. And I was like, why would he's not sorry, because he's not gonna give it. He never gave any of that money back. He died saying he's sorry, filthy rich off of gouging people. That's capitalism. So when we talk about America and the way it does things, the unfairness of capitalism, nepotism is part of capitalism. I'm going to overpay this person who I know, or who, because I know somebody that they know. It's not what you know, but it's who you know. So I know somebody, or they know me. I'm going to overpay them even though they're not qualified, and I'm going to underpay this person who is qualified. That's capitalism. But unfortunately, the person who's unqualified has a higher position and more pay than the person who is. So you put you put the future of your company into a majority of people of incompetent individuals, as long as they looked a certain way. So now, the business is failing. Yeah, of course. But if the business is failing, what do? We buy politicians and we find other ways to overcharge the customer because we need our profits. We fire a bunch of people because we need the profits. That's capitalism, which goes back to getting something for nothing. So when I say, Adam Smith isn't really the form of capitalism in America, is because it's not. The Trail of Tears was capitalism in America. Um, like I said, slavery was capitalism. Jim Crow was capitalism. Um, what was that? The savings and loans scandal. That's capitalism. You get what I'm saying? Moving all the manufacturing abroad because you don't want to pay Americans any money or fair wages in America. So you go to Mexico and China and India and Thailand. That's capitalism. That's what's been going on. So, and at some point, just mathematically, it ends. And because the country is built on of that mindset, but at the same time, we're going to exponentially grow forever. And that's the stupidity of American capitalism, because the growth is really forecasted on being able to take, take an exorbitant amount for hardworking people for your coffers and your profits. And then what happens, you're going to run out of people to take from. Kind of like being black, they talk about, black community crime, black community, blah, blah, blah. But they don't say that crime has been going down in our community for 30 years straight. The cameras have grown, but the crime rate has gone down. And the interesting thing about that is the crime rate has gone down because, there were too many people busted for illegal things and, legal things that just didn't make sense. So you have less and less criminals. So when you have less and less criminals, now you need to, we need to, what do you say? Gin up some criminality. So you participate in the streets to have somebody to arrest. So I was like, but at a certain point, even people stop participating in that. And it's the same thing with capitalism. You can't keep, exploiting people because you run out of people to exploit. And all you're left with is all the money you've made from exploiting people and a bunch of upset people. That's it. Like people, this is just, I guess we're on a precipice of the Boston Tea Party, but in America. It's the same premise. So, and even with that, you go back in history, you realize what did England do? They overcharged because that was their capitalism. Let me stick it to you because let me get some cheap tea from Asia and then charge you an arm and a leg because you ain't in England, so I might as well, try to break you on this tea. And people are like, I don't need your stinking tea. I won't drink tea then. That's what that was. It's the same premise over and over again. And now you're getting to a point where America can't afford to pay for your tea. So they don't want it no more. But tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm going to tell you that.